Swapashada Swiyadhama Sahavatari Swapashada Swiyadhama Sahavatari Atyanta dulabha prema Karibare daan prema Karibare daan Shikhaya sharanagati Bhakatera pran Dainya atma nivedanam Goptridve varana Dainya atma nivedanam Dainya atma nivedanam Goptridve varana Avasharakhive Krishna Vishvasa Palana Bhakti Anukula Matra Karyera Bhakti pratikula bhava prajanangikar Shadanga sharanangati Hoi bejaha Shadang sharanangati Hoi bejaha Tahara prarthana shuni Shri Nanda Kumar Shri Rupa Sanatanam Rupa Sanatana Pade Dante Trina Kari vinoda pade duhun pada dhori. কান্দিয়া কান্দিয়া বলে আমি তো অধমা, বলে কান্দিয়া কান্দিয়া বলে আমি তো ধমা, শিখায় শরণাগতি কর হে উত্তমা। শিখায় শরণাগতি কর হে উত্তমা। Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Doya Kori. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Doya Kori. Swaparshada Suyadhama Sahavatari. Swaparshada Suyadhama Sahavatari. Vishnupada Paramahansa Previjak Acarya Stotra Shatashrima Shishimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnupada Paramahansa Previjak Acarya Stotra Shatashrima Shishimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinda Ki Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shyamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Mathura Dham Ki Ganga Mai Ki Yamuna Mai Ki, Tulasi Devi Ki, Bhakti Devi Ki, Samveta Bhaktivinoda Ki. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Krishna Prasthapati Shrimate Bhakti Vikasa Swami. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, reading from Canto 2, Chapter 9, text number 22. Got it up there? Tata? Yeah? Oh, Jacob? Okay. Got it, Jacob? Okay, quick, come on. What's going on? 2:9:22. Okay. No. 2:9:22. What is this? 22. Okay. Okay. Huh? It should be 22. That's what Vishnu Chitta Prabhu told me. Yeah, he did. Okay. Manushitanubhavo yang mama lokavalokana yad upashrutya rahasi chakartha paramam tapaha manishitanubhavo yam mama lokavalokanam yad upashrutya rahasi chakartha paramam tapaha manishitanubhavo yam mama lokavalokanam yadupashrutya rahasi chakartha paramam tapaha manishitanubhavo yam mama lokavalokanam yadupashrutya rahasi chakartha paramam tapaha. Please repeat. Manushite anubhavo yam Amalokavalokyam Karta paramam tapaha Manisitanubhavoyam Amalokavalokanam Shukta rahasi Karta paramam tapaha Nijitanubhavoyam Amalokavalokanam Okay, anyone else within the men? No? Okay, Mataji's. Mataji's. Manishanubhavoyam Amalokavalokanam See. Just go check down there. Janardhan is meant to be on it. Oh. Go check down there. Okay. Manishita, ingenuity. Anubhava, perception. I am this. Mama, my. Loka, abode. Avalokanam, seeing by actual experience. And yet, because Upashrutya, hearing, Rahasi, in great penance, Chakartha, having performed, Paramam, highest. Tapaha, penance. Okay. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. The highest perfection, ingenuity, is the personal perception of my abodes. And this has been possible because of your submissive attitude in the performance of severe penance according to my order. The highest perfectional stage, purport, the highest perfectional stage of life is to know that the Lord by actual perception, by the grace of the Lord. This can be attained by everyone who is willing to discharge the act of devotional service to the Lord as enjoined in the revealed scriptures that are standard and accepted by bona fide acharyas, spiritual masters. For example, the Bhagavad Gita is the approved Vedic literatures accepted by the great acharyas such as Shankara, Ramanuja, Madhva, Chaitanya, Vishwanatha, Baladev, Siddhanta Saraswati, and many others. In the Bhagavad Gita, the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, asks that one always be mindful of Him, always be His devotee, always worship Him only, and always bow down before the Lord. And by doing so, one is sure to go back home, back to Godhead, without a doubt. In other places, also the same order is there, that one give up all other engagements and fully surrender unto the Lord without hesitation. And the Lord will give such a devotee all protection. These are the secrets of attaining the highest perfectional stage. Lord Brahma exactly followed these principles without any superiority complex. And thus he attained the highest perfectional stage of experiencing the abode of the Lord and the Lord Himself with all His paraphernalia. Impersonal realization of the effulgence of the Lord's body is not the highest perfectional stage. Nor is the stage of Paramatma realization. The word Manishita is significant. Everyone is falsely or factually proud of his so-called learning. But the Lord says that the highest perfectional stage of learning is to know Him and His abode, devoid of all illusion. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumita Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapita Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Tadadi Swapadantikam Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Tapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagar Chatam Sakana Raghunathan Vitamtam Sajivan Sadhuitam Savadatam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vijakhan Vitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Banda Jagatpati Gopisha Gopika Radha Kanda Namaste Tapta Kanchana Rangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwabhanuste Devi Pranamami Haripe Vanchakalpadharuvishya Kripa Sindhubhyo Vishapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swami Namane Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Guru Vaishnava Bhagavanti Smarana Hoy Vikna Vinashana Nayashi Hoy Nijavanchita Purana. Okay, so here, continuing on in the 9th chapter, where Lord Brahma is having the darshan of the Lord, is being revealed upon him the transcendental abode, the form, pastimes of the Lord. Here we see the qualification by which Lord Brahma was able to attain such a position. So a few words Krishna uses here, this word ingenuity, submissive attitude, and there's penance according to my order, being the principles of what is being spoken about here and his qualifications. So just before this verse here, Krishna says to Lord Brahma, I wish you good luck, O Brahma. You may ask from me, the giver of all benediction, all that you may desire. You may know the ultimate benediction as the result of all penances is to see me by realization. It's interesting we chant this verse that Guru Vaishnav Bhagavan Tinir Smarana Hoy, Vigna Vinashan, Anayashe Hai, Nija Vanchita Purana, that by remembering the Guru, Vaishnav and Bhagavan, all obstacles are removed and one's real desire can be fulfilled. So similarly here, Krishna says to Lord Brahma, I wish you good luck. And if you heard Bhakti Vikas Maharaj's address, he says same thing like this, I wish you good luck, good luck. So here the Lord addresses Lord Brahma, I wish you good luck, or you may ask from me, the giver of all benediction, that I wish you great luck. What better wishes could you ask for but from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or from your spiritual master? So here Lord Brahma is particularly getting this benediction due to his submissive attitude and his performance of severe penances according to his order, to Krishna's order. So as you understand, the line of Gaudiya Vaishnav tradition, this line of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, it particularly emphasizes these principles of humility. We see this throughout the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we see this in the prominently in our acharyas, and we see it in Srila Prabhupada, in our own spiritual master. And it is the very characteristics of bhakti itself. Bhakti Vinod Thakur says like this. Some acharyas say, well, bhakti is completely independent of everything, but Bhakti Vinod Thakur says like this, that Bhakti Vinod Thakur defines humility as an inherent character of Bhakti Devi herself. So it is a characteristic that a devotee needs to imbibe in order to actually attain the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As we have seen over and over again, the submissiveness attitude of a disciple is what allows him to get the mercy of the spiritual master. The humility of the disciple. No disciple can get the mercy of the spiritual master by his, what Prabhupada defines here as superiority complex. That Brahma didn't have such a thing. He did not have a superiority complex. And this word ingenuity, the quality of being noble in character, mind, birth, or rank. This word is actually different now and this is like a different, they have this another translation or like another meaning of ingenuity. What is it normally known as? Ingenuity? Anybody know this word? Without malice. Any, do you know? Oh. Resourceful intelligence, is that what you said? Something along those lines. Nobody knows the exact meaning. Anyways, this is the meaning that I found that is being addressed here, that the highest quality of being a noble character. Noble in character, mind, birth, or rank. So when one is in such a position, Krishna is saying that the highest perfection of this is that one sees me. And this has been possible because of your submissive attitude. So this position can be attained by anyone and everyone by this attitude of devotion, as we often quote Srila Prabhupada saying that Krishna consciousness is it transforms our attitude. How is that exactly said? How does that quoted in the Nectar of Instruction? That is attitude, well, you've often quoted it. It's Krishna consciousness is an attitude correctional facility. It corrects our attitude because our attitude currently is that of being trying to be the enjoyer. And it is completely against the whole idea of humility. It goes the other way. Because humility, we have to understand what humility actually means. Because we can read Shastra and then derive a false meaning of humility also. So humility requires a level of aitiha, tradition. We see our acharyas, how they were humble. But at the same time, you see Srila Prabhupada's, he's a very, humility defined, his personality, humility personified, but at the same time, he would completely be against anything, everything that is not with Krishna consciousness, and he would strongly preach. So he would look arrogant in the eyes of those materialists. So how is this possible? How is it possible for someone to be extremely humble and at the same time be very strong in his words and in his actions like Srila Prabhupada was? He would go against the materialist. You're living like hogs and dogs. Someone tells you that, it's like, whoa, this person is really arrogant. He really thinks, he thinks he's above us. Prabhupada would tell them that also. Do you think you're better than us? Yes. There's that interview. Do you think you're better than us? Yes, I am. So how is this humble? How is this person of humility? How is such a person, the Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, who is because he's the Acharya, and he imbibes this humility. Because he's got how do we understand that? Because he's got he can see Krishna directly. He has that. It's his inherent character of the devotee is that humility is there. So the Kumara's address like this, that my dear king, the false ego of a human being is so strong that it keeps him in material existence as if tied up by a strong rope. Only the devotee can cut off the knot of his strong rope very easily by engaging them in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, who are not in Krishna consciousness but are trying to become great mystics or great ritual performers cannot advance like the devotees. Therefore, it is the duty of everyone to engage himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness in order to be freed from the tight knot of false ego and engagement in material activities. So, this false ego is so strong, and to come to the standard of humility is very difficult. So how does Srila Prabhupada define this humility? Prabhupada defines it in the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna addresses the qualities of a devotee as one being humility. So Prabhupada says, humility means that one should not be anxious to have the satisfaction of being honored by others. The material conception of life makes us very eager to receive honor from others, but from the point of view of a man in perfect knowledge, who knows that he is not this body, anything, honor or dishonor, pertaining to this body is useless. One should not be hankering after this material deception. So this is the meaning of humility. One does not desire honor. One does not desire to be honored. One does not desire glorification from others. So Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu kind of defines some of the characteristics of this humility. It says that the word dainya, which is the word for humility, as we read in Bhakti Vinod Thakur's song, that when unhappiness, fearfulness, and the sense of having offended combine, one feels condemned. The sense of condemnation is described as dinata, humility. When one is subjected to such a humility, he feels physically inactive, he apologizes, and his consciousness is disturbed. His mind is also restless, and many other symptoms are visible. You see this prominently in the songs of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. As we read, that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to show this way of surrender. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Doya Kori Swaparshad Suya Dhama Tava Avatari Atant Durlabha Prema Karibari Dan Shikaya Sharanagati Bhakatera Pran. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu descended from the eternal spiritual world along with his personal associates and divine abode, incarnating in this temporary material world out of compassion for the fallen souls. In order to freely distribute the gift of ecstatic love of Godhead, which is very difficult to obtain, he taught the path of Sharanagati, devotional surrender to the Supreme Lord. This Sharanagati is the very life of the true devotee. And what is this? What is this surrender? Because Srila Prabhupada, in this purport, what is he saying? He's giving the secret of success in spiritual life. What is that secret? No, in this purport that we're speaking about. Submissive attitude, but how?
By performing it under the order of Krishna.
Exactly. By performing under the order of Krishna, by that which is bona fide, that revealed scripture which is accepted by bona fide acharyas, spiritual masters. And he quotes saying, you see Shankara, Ramanuja, Madhva, Chaitanya, Vishwanath, Baladev, Siddhanta Saraswati, Thakur, and many others. And so Prabhupada says, the secret has been given. What is that secret? What is the verse that Prabhupada quotes here? Manmanam bhavamad bhakto madhyajimam namaskuru. That you always think of me. Be mindful of me. Be my devotee. And what's the other other verse that Srila Prabhupada quotes? Sarva dharma parityaja mam ekam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sarva papibhyo mokshishami ma suchaha. Do not worry, do not fear, just surrender unto me. I shall take care of all your problems, I shall take care of everything. So I shall give you all protection. So Prabhupada says, these are the secrets of attaining the highest perfection, no stage. And so Prabhupada qualifies that with saying that Lord Brahma exactly followed these principles without any superiority complex, and thus attained the highest perfection of experience the abode of the Lord and the Lord himself with all his paraphernalia. So here, Prabhupada is teaching us, well, here's the secret. This is it. This is what you have to do, but this is the qualification to be able to do it without superiority complex. That means humility. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives us these 6 ways of surrender, because Srila Prabhupada is saying that, well, you have to surrender, but what is the ways of that surrender? Well, Srila Prabhupada gives us this humility, this without any superiority complex. Actually, this applies to these 6 ways of surrender that Bhaktivinoda Thakur speaks about. What is that? Dainya Atma Nivedana Goptritve Varana Avashya Rakhibe Krishna Vishvasa Palana Bhakti Anukula Matra Karya Svikar Bhakti Pratikula Bhava Bhajanangikar. The 6 ways of surrender through Sharanagati are Dainya, humility; Atma Nivedana, dedication of the self; Goptritve Varana, acceptance of the Lord as one's only maintainer; the consciousness of Avashya Rakhive Krishna, Krishna will surely protect me, which is Vishvasa, faith in Krishna; Palana, protection; Bhakti Anukula Matra Karya Svikar, execution of only acts favorable to pure devotion; and Bhakti Pratikula Bhava Bhajanangikar, renunciation of conduct adverse to pure devotion. So all of these things require one to have no superiority complex or an inferiority complex. Both are very important to understand. Humility does not mean inferiority complex. Humility does not mean that we sit there and cry about our life. Because you got to understand, we're not crying about our life, me, myself, and me. Oh, how sad I am, or how difficult my life is, or how you see that within neophyte consciousness of just being depressed. This humility that we're defining here is not depression. Otherwise, we would have the highest suicide rates. If you see our acharyas, how they describe, they say, I shall smash my head against the stone. I shall enter the fire. That is the feeling of the acharyas. That is the feeling, that is the deepest feeling they have. That I am not that, I'm so fallen, I am so far. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings. He sings this song here. In his songs, he's categorized it into each principle. So he sings here. Here we go, I'm sorry. It's taking some time to load. Amara jivan sada paperata nahiko punyera lesha parera udvega diachi ke koto diachi jivere klesha. My life is ever given to sin. In it there is not a particle of good. I have caused others great anxieties and have troubled all souls. For the sake of my own enjoyment, I never hesitate to perform sinful acts, devoid of all compassion. I am concerned only with my self-interest. Perpetually seeking lies, I am become dejected upon seeing others happy. Whereas the misery of others is a source of great delight for me. There are limitless material desires within the core of my heart. I am wrathful, fond of exhibiting arrogance, intoxicated by vanity and bewildered by worldly affairs. I wear the cherished ornaments of envy and egotism. Ruined by laziness and sleep, I resist all pious deeds, yet am very enthusiastic to perform wicked acts. For the sake of worldly fame and reputation, I engage in the practice of deceitfulness. I am victimized by own greed, being always lustful. A vile, wicked man such as this, rejected by godly people, is a constant offender. Devoid of all good works, forever inclined towards evil, he is worn out and wasted by various miseries. Now in old age, deprived of meaning of relief, thus humbled and poor, Bhaktivinoda submits its tale of grief at the feet of the Supreme Lord. So, when you hear such things, if the psychology department of University of Georgia Tech or Georgia State would come to and examine our literature, especially the literature of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they'll think, well, these people are all depressed. What is going on? This is meant to be, dancing and chanting and all this, and it's meant, people are meant to feel happy, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who's on the platform of highest devotional service, is feeling great level of seemingly misery, great level of sorrow, unhappiness. Similarly, Narottam Das Thakur sings like that also, that I'm a great offender, I'm a great sinful person, I should not be living. I do not deserve this devotional service. So Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu describes all of these things, all of these feelings that a person in the mood of humility has, as some of the devotees here would have seen also yesterday, the exhibition of the devotees' humility in their offerings to their spiritual master. And then a few minutes later, everybody's singing and dancing and happy. How do you understand this? As in one place you're singing, you're speaking to your spiritual master, I'm so fallen, I'm so useless, I have no qualification. But the next minute you're chanting and dancing, and 1 second you're crying, the other minute you see that kirtan, it was lively, it was ecstatic, you felt like I was telling someone, felt like I was flying, like, okay, let's go, this is it, we're flying, we're floating now. We're on the plane back home, back to Godhead. So how do you understand all this? How do you, psychologically, how do you understand all this? It seems completely contradictory to anything that you, can imagine. Happiness in devotional service, it should be full of bliss. Well, there's crying also. Devotees are crying. Devotees are crying to their spiritual master. So what is this humility? How does this make sense? Well, it doesn't. One thing is, it's inconceivable, the devotee's humility. Bhaktivinoda Thakur's humility is absolutely inconceivable. How can someone on the highest platform of devotional service, who is directly seeing Lord Chaitanya dance, this Gaura Arti that we sing, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is having that direct experience. But why? Therefore, why? Because Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the first principle of surrender, dainya, humility. He approaches the Supreme Personality with all humility at his command. Not with superior complexity or inferior complexity that, I can't do anything, I'm absolutely useless. Yes, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is telling like that, but he's actually performing devotional service. Not that one becomes completely, he stops working for the Supreme Personality. Got it? You see the qualification at the end of it, that his humility is that he's surrendering to the Supreme Personality. Got it? He's addressing the Supreme Personality. Got it? Not his material. He doesn't take shelter of his material desires. One who is depressed, he just cannot, he thinks about himself. Oh, I'm so like this, I'm so like that, I'm so like this, oh. And all the devotees are dancing in ecstasy and having a great, it's just like everybody's, ecstatic, and you're just sitting there, my life, me. Is this not humility? This is another form of false ego. It's another form, it's just the other side of it. That's not humility. Humility means to dance in the kirtan. Why? Because you understand that this pleases my spiritual master. It's not about me here. This pleases the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is humility, to put ourselves aside and put the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the center. That's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur is addressing like this. Now I'm making you, my Lord, the center of my life, putting aside all of my considerations. So, real humility means, as Srila Prabhupada defines it, to not consider oneself to be the center of, whether it's feeling like, depressed and, devotional service is going on around us and we don't perform that as a result of that. That is not humility. Humility means that one should not be anxious to have the satisfaction of being honored by others. Sometimes there's one end of trying to be honored by others by being very great, and then the other end is being very depressed. Or everybody should look at me, look how depressed I am, look how sad I am. Everybody should come to me and tell me. How do I know this? Because I was like that. You just feel sad. Why? So hopefully somebody can notice I'm sad. Somebody should notice I'm sad. If they don't notice, then they don't care about me. While there's ecstatic dancing and chanting going on. So that's not humility. Humility has to be learned through aitiya, by tradition. You see the humility of the acharyas. They perform intense devotional service. They do not become wavered, but one may feel sad, but they go on performing devotional service. Internally, they're cultivating this attitude. Externally, they're very strong and sharp, like Srila Prabhupada, you'll see. So one exhibits his humility, one's humility it comes naturally when one understands that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. He understands that Krishna is the ultimate protector. He is the complete person to which we should surrender to. So therefore, in the teachings to Sanatana Goswami, in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, this is very nicely given. That at that time, Sanatana fell at the feet of the Lord with great humility, asked about his own real identity. I am born, Sanatana Goswami says, I am born of a lower family. My associations are all abominable, and I am fallen, the most wretched in mankind. I was suffering in the dark of material enjoyment, and I never knew the actual goal of my life. Indeed, I do not even know what is beneficial for me. Although I am what is known in the world as a great learned man, I am in fact so much of a fool that I myself even think that I am learned. You have accepted me as your servant, and you have delivered me from the entanglement of material life. Now please tell me what my duty is in this liberated state. By this plea, we can understand that liberation is not the final word in perfection. There must be activities in liberation. Sanatana clearly says, you have saved me from the material existence. Now after liberation, what is my duty? Sanatana further inquired, who am I? Why are the threefold miseries always giving me trouble? And finally, tell me, how can I be relieved from material entanglement? I do not know how to question you about the advancement of spiritual life, but I beg that you kindly, mercifully let me know everything that I need to know. This is the process of accepting a spiritual master. One should approach a spiritual master humbly, submit to him, and then inquire from him about one's spiritual progress. The Lord was pleased by Sanatana's submissive behavior. He replied, you have already received benedictions from Lord Krishna, and therefore you know everything and are free from all miseries of material existence. Because you are a humble devotee, you are asking me to confirm what you already know. This is very nice. You are a suitable person to protect the devotional service of the Lord. Therefore, it is my duty to instruct you in the science of God, and I will explain everything to you step by step. So when one becomes humble in his surrender to the Acharya, when one becomes humble in his surrender to the spiritual master, the spiritual master grants him that knowledge. Why? Because he says, you are a suitable person to protect the devotional service of the Lord. You are a suitable person that will keep the parampara moving, that will keep the parampara going. Why? Because you have all these great qualities of a Vaishnava. And what are those qualities? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Ramananda Rai, Sanatana Goswami's renunciation of material connection is just like yours. Humility, renunciation, and excellent learning exist in him simultaneously. All of these things pleases the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Humility, renunciation. These two things, and simultaneously, when this excellent learning exists in him, the Lord granted Sanatana Goswami this as a protector of the devotional service. He says that you are a suitable person to protect the devotional service of the Lord. And you can see that so many unscrupulous men, after Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and plundered the ways of devotion, the way of surrender that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught. And if we didn't have persons like Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Jiva Goswami, we wouldn't have the vast amount of literature and understanding that we do. We would have lost the tradition. We would have lost this very deep culture that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught to us, that taught to our acharyas. So here we see the qualification of a disciple, of a devotee who receives the mercy of the spiritual master, the way that one surrenders to the spiritual master. So humility grants one what? He grants one the holy name. It grants one Krishna. Because we see that in Shikshastika. Trinadapi sunichina tarurapi saishina amani namani dena kirtaniya sadahari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige. And one should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. The Lord comes and resides in our tongue. When we are chanting in such a mood, when we are performing devotional service in such a mood, not with this superiority complex, sorry. So, such a person with a superiority complex tends to be more concerned about himself than others. He is generally, the definition is given, maybe arrogant and dismissive. So you meet people who are a little bit smart. It's like, through my own experience of high school and that, people who come from a little bit higher class of family and they're a little bit smarter and they're just very dismissive people. Anyways, you're not that great. You're not that, they generally, when you come from a higher background, higher family, you have a very good body, very beautiful, can sing very nicely, do all of these things, but they're just very dismissive. Oh yeah, you're not like us. And there's a very exclusive group. Or some people, they just by themselves, I'm better than everyone else. I can't hang around anyone. I've got my own thing. I have my own philosophy. I have my own life. I take care of my own thing. And Brahma had every right to have that. Prabhupada says that in the end here. He says, everyone is falsely or factually proud. You may be falsely proud, as we've met so many falsely proud people. They're just useless in life, they just cannot do anything. And nothing at all. They can't sing, can't dance. They're horrible. They have a horrible ability to understand anything. But they're so proud. Yes, I'm going to become a great rapper. You'll see that in Atlanta. Atlanta is like the most puffed up place people I've met. It's like, bro, you can't keep a damn beat. How are you going to become a rapper? Like, my God, we're in a kirtan and they're trying to sing and throw off the whole kirtan, can't keep a simple tune and want to become a rapper. Can't read a book and wants to become a writer. It's 100% true. I'm not like overdoing this. This is like we've come across so many people like this. Have no money and work at a sanitation department and think themselves as a great person. Oh yes, I'm going to do such great things in life, all right? Amazing. Good luck. As Krishna says, good luck. I wish you good luck. And so such people, whether they're falsely puffed up or factually puffed up, as Lord Brahma has every right to be factually puffed up. He's the most intelligent living entity in the universe. But real learned, a person who is really learned, Prabhupada describes here as, but the Lord says that the highest perfection stage of learning is to know Him and His abode devoid of all illusion. So one who has real knowledge, he comes to that standard of humility. If you've met devotees, if you've met those devotees who've been practicing devotional service for some time or for a long time, those who have gone through the purification of Krishna consciousness, sometimes you speak to them and it's just like there's no false ego whatsoever, and it shocks you, like, whoa, this person is very just inside. What is inside, that is outside. There's no duplicity, there's no feeling of they're above you. They don't demand respect, they command respect by their character and their devotion. That is sin. So the secret of devotional service is surrender, but the way of that, as being explained by Srila Prabhupada here, is to perform that without any superiority complex. And thus, in such a situation, the devotee starts to experience what? Well, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says here, Here we go. Oh man, I lost it. Where is this song that Tulasi Dekhi Juraya Pran Shuddha Bhagata Charana Renu? Is that come in Sharanagati? Okay. So what does he say? He says that dust of the lotus feet of the pure devotee, enthusiastic devotional service, and service to the pure devotee of the highest order are the roots of the creeper of devotion. So he goes on here. He says that when I hear the sound of the mridanga in my heart, I always desire to join in kirtan. And when I hear the bona fide songs describing Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, my heart dances in ecstasy. When I see the transcendental Shiv Vigrahas of Radha Krishna, I'm in bliss, for my taking their Lordship prasad, we conquer over the material elements. One day, while performing devotional practices, I saw my house transformed into Goloka Vrindavan. When I take the Charanamrita of the deity, I see the holy Ganga's water that comes from the lotus feet of Vishnu, and my bliss knows no bound. By seeing the Tulasi tree, my heart feels joy, and Lord Madhava, Krishna, is also satisfied. When I eat the prasad favored by Lord Chaitanya, it is a new life's experience. That's Shak, Lord Chaitanya. He really loves Shak. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur references that. Bhaktivinoda concludes by saying, whoever attains the stage of enthusiasm for these devotional practices will be supremely blissful wherever he may go. So one performs, while in this form of humility, there is this understanding, yes, we are fallen. But when it comes to devotional practices, the devotee performs it with great enthusiasm. Great enthusiasm. Utsaha. Utsaha dhairya nischa. That by great humility, great enthusiasm, patience, and determination, confidence. So these are the qualities by which a devotee can advance in devotional service. He is not lethargic. He's not lazy, he's not depressed, he's enthusiastic, but he understands his position. He's not falsely proud. He knows that he's fallen and all these things that are there. But when performing the devotional service of the Lord, he's very enthusiastic because he cares about the Lord. That is his primary consciousness. So Lord Brahma, having those qualities, he was able to come to this platform of shaking the hands with the Lord, of getting this benediction from the Lord. And it's mentioned here that with a submissive attitude, he performed in the performance of severe penances according to my order. So, according to the order of the Acharya, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the spiritual master, if one performs the austerities, then one will be able to come to that standard. By submissively performing the prescribed duties that the spiritual master has set to us, we come to this platform of being able to see the Lord face to face. So he said the highest perfection stage is known by the Lord, is to know the Lord by actual perception by the grace of the Lord, as Srila Prabhupada often said. You can see Krishna face to face. You can not just, he's saying you can speak to Krishna. On the platform of perfection, you can see Krishna face to face. So this can be attained by everyone who is willing to discharge the act of devotional service to the Lord as enjoined in the revered scriptures that are standard and accepted by the bona fide acharyas. So we follow in the footsteps of the acharyas. Mahajano yena gatasapantaha. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, continued in this is the translation, draw arguments are inconclusive. A great personality whose opinion does not differ from the others is not considered a great sage. Simply by studying the Vedas, which are variegated, one cannot come to the right path by which religious principles are understood. The solid truth of religious principles is hidden in the heart of an unadulterated, self-realized person. Consequently, as the Shastras confirm, one should accept whatever progressive path the Mahajan advocate. So one should accept those austerities that the Mahajans or the spiritual master assigns to us, not some concocted austerity or some austerity that we desire to perform. We perform that austerity which the spiritual master desires us to perform. And what are those austerities? Book distribution, getting up at 4 a.m, eating only Krishna Prasadam, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, chanting our rounds attentively. These things, associating with devotees properly. So by such austerities, they are regulated principles of devotional service. Performing these regulated principles of devotional service, it is a activity that is going on eternally, but it brings us to a platform of spontaneous devotional service, where it comes to spontaneous attraction by that regulative principle of devotional service, which now sometimes seems very difficult to do, becomes natural. Because it is natural, it is the inherent nature of the jiva to do these activities, to chant the holy name, to hear about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to associate with devotees. All of these things are inherent qualities of the spirit soul. And it is the activities that exist eternally in the spiritual world. But due to our avidya, our ignorance, we cannot recognize this. Sometimes we think our devotion, or associating with devotees, oh man, I don't like these people, or it's so hard to speak to these people sometimes, or I just want to go be by myself for some time and for a long time and just not be in association. I can do devotion service by myself. But Chaitanya Charitamrita says this is how one gets granted devotion, and it continues even after perfection. How does that verse start? Mula hai sadhu sangha, and then Mukhya Anga. So Mukhya Anga, it is the most prominent aspect of devotional service. Is the trunk, is the mukhya, is the mouth. Is the most prominent aspect of devotional service is this association of the devotees of the Lord. So by accepting austerities and penances, that which is being prescribed by our Acarya, Srila Prabhupada, and our own spiritual master, to go out and distribute books and to make devotees, and to continue the line of devotional service very strictly, these are all austerities. Because nobody praises you on that path of strict devotional service. People may defame you, people may put you on, call you bogus, ban you from temples, such and such. So it requires great level of humility and austerity to actually get onto the path of devotion, because the path of spiritual life is filled with thorns, as Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would say. Every step is very difficult. It's very difficult. So it requires a great level of humility, a great level of chastity to the predecessor acharyas, and to perform that penance. And when we do that, we can expect the mercy of the Lord. As our own spiritual master has his own. So when you can see it, when he is just present, the level of experience he has with this. His experience in getting the mercy of the Guru Parampara. You can see it in his writing, you can see it in his activities, you can see it in his speech, his achar, vichar, prachar. It is all present, it is prominently present in our spiritual masters, our Bhakti Vikas Maharajas, at least in my experience seeing him. That is prominently present. Otherwise, such a person cannot comment on the Vishnu Sahasranam. This is the level of taste you have to do that. And to that extensively, he's been doing, I think he started that in 2012. I was looking at all the way at number 1. Vishva. That starts with Vishva. So Vishva Vishnu Vasatkaru. It starts like that. So 2012, and so it's, 12 years of just constantly going on, describing, along with writing books, along with dealing with disciples, such and such. The person has to be very Krishna conscious. So you can see that by his service, submissive attitude, because if you hear about the things that he went through in Bengal, austerity, and it's just the difficulties he went through, like, he's performing that pastime of exhibiting many health issues after taking sannyas, having severe migraines for a whole year. He had to just lay down for a whole year. If you look at the videos from 2020, he's giving lectures lying down for about 8-9 months because his back had a slip disc. He couldn't move. But you see, you watch those lectures, and he's not at all disturbed. Not at all disturbed, nothing. When I was watching them, I'm going, oh my God, this person's on a very, very, very high level on the platform of perfection of devotional service. So by the humility, by his chastity to his own Acharya, by the austerities that he has performed, he's constantly experiencing the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's on the platform of pure devotion, spontaneous devotion. At the same time, you can see the humility. It is present in his presence. So by aspiring in this way, I heard from my own spiritual master saying that the devotees are determined to become humble. They're determined to have that association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So by understanding this quality of humility, by trying to imbibe this quality of humility, not falsely being humble, but actually just performing the devotional service to the Lord, leaving everything else aside, not considering oneself to be some great person. It allows us to come to the platform of loving devotional service in which we will experience the ecstasies that Bhaktivinoda Thakur is speaking about. By hearing the kirtan of the Lord, his heart is dancing in ecstasy. Ananda Hridaya Nachi. So we can come to this platform also. It is for everyone. This can be attained by everyone, Prabhupada says, who is willing to discharge in accordance with the revealed scriptures that are standard and accepted by the Acharyas. So if we can follow this path of devotion that has been set, it is there already. It is in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given it, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given it, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada and our own spiritual master. Then there is no question, without a doubt, I think Srila Prabhupada said in that, without a doubt, there is no doubt that one cannot attain perfection. One will attain this without a doubt. So we can follow this path of the great devotees, of the Mahajans, and become perfected in our lives like this. And you see that Srila Prabhupada has set those, like I was saying, those activities of book distribution, how they humble us, how they make us realize we're not in control. When is a great book distributor a great book distributor? When he realizes that actually this is not me. Actually this is my spiritual master. When you recognize that, and at the end of your doing huge on book distribution, you can sit there and offer obeisances to your spiritual master. And genuinely feel that within your heart that this is not me. I could never have done this. And you offer that to your spiritual master, everything, not a little bit desiring to have name and fame for oneself, but offer everything within one's heart to the spiritual master. Then we can understand this person is a great book distributor. And as our Guru Maharaj said in this, there's a lecture when he's talking to the Brazil devotees, when you find such a devotee who is such a great book distributor, when you find such a devotee who's been going on for years and years and years performing devotional service, especially this book distribution, you should simply go and fall like a stick, dandavat. You should immediately fall at the lotus feet of such a devotee and grab his lotus feet. Because this is real Krishna consciousness. To be engaged in the spreading of the mission of the Lord, spreading the mission of the Lord. So we can understand the exalted personalities. To stay on that platform, that humility has to be there. You can understand any book distributor that has been distributing book for years. Anybody that distributes books in general can understand it requires a lot of humility. And for those who've been doing for year after year after year after year the same thing, but they stay enthusiastic. They stay extremely enthusiastic, fired up, and they go on. You can understand, such people are extremely humble. They may not exhibit that externally, but you can understand, This is an activity that requires extreme amount of humility to go on, this book distribution. You can judge, you can see some of the devotees in our movement who have just gave their life to book distribution. Brigupati Prabhu being a pure example of someone who is just, when you speak to him, it's just like there's no false ego. It's just this person, you won't even know that he's distributed books his whole life. He won't even mention it. He won't even mention how many books he's distributed. He just speak Krishna Katha. This person is just like, when you speak to him, you can see his consciousness. When he speaks to, like, devotees who have just been in Krishna consciousness for a year, and he speaks to them, and it just doesn't feel like it's just like, whoa, who's this person? So we can aspire. We have living examples of that. We can aspire from them and be inspired by them and follow in their footsteps. So one can acquire all of these qualities by such principles that we have spoken here. I won't go on too much longer. If there's any questions or comments, please feel free to ask. Yes. Kamalini Mataji has some. Apurva Prabhu.
First, I want to thank you for speaking so profoundly about this process of Krishna consciousness and how to attain pure devotional service by a constant absorption in the mission of your Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Vikas Swami. I had never heard you mentioned some of his, challenges. And I want to know how we can keep in this mindset, constant absorption, because it comes and goes, Of course, we know that the main thing is association with like-minded devotees who are committed to the instructions of their spiritual master and going back home, back to Godhead in this life.
We can simply aspire what you've done in your life.
Yeah.
You're a perfect example of that. And you and your very, very exalted wife. I mean, how can, you've shown it by your own example. It's by him, as we're discussing the humilities. So what you've done, Prabhu, your whole life you've dedicated to Krishna and Prabhupada, and you're constantly thinking about Srila Prabhupada, and every time we speak to you, you're cooking for Srila Prabhupada, thinking about what you can cook next. You've wrote so many books. Mataji's always absorbed in thinking about book distribution and distributed books her whole life. So for us, you're asking me, how can we be in constant consciousness? This is seeing your example, and you've done that your whole life in this situation. I'm sure you've gone yourself, you've been through so much with the movement and been through that. So you're example of that, of constant, out of your humility, you're saying, how do we do that? But it's like, it's been your life. And so it's like for us, it's like we see you and Mataji and so many of your God brothers that have stayed so amazingly on the path of devotion service, and we say, well, this is the way to do it. You just stayed on the branch of devotional service, stayed on Srila Prabhupada's, and stick with Prabhupada's instructions, followed them, lived by them, distributed books your life, and cooked prasadam and distributed so much prasadam, harinam, So it's, what else is there? So you and your wife are perfect examples of that. So we aspire to be like that. So that's my answer is that your life, you've just given it to Srila Prabhupada. So that's what we want to do. We don't know anything else other than that.
I can only say you're extremely generous. And
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, because we're actually not anywhere near the standard of you devotees. But you were mentioning, like, if one distributes a lot
Nelly.
of books, and then he says, I didn't do it, it's only my guru doing it. So what about if we distribute very few books, or it's very difficult? It's not easy for everyone. And so then what? Then we're like offering our apologies to our spiritual master that, and if he did it. But you know what I mean? I imagine there must be at least one devotee in this Sangha who finds book distribution very difficult.
I did 2 bhakti stacks this whole marathon.
Well, I know what you did behind the scenes and making bhaktis and serving the devotees. But you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
like I think it's, like I just offer apologies all the time to my spiritual master that I don't go out very long, and I don't, like I was telling some devotees, like if I can get, you know how many people give me $5 for a hardback Gita, or even 3, and I'm like, try to get 10. So what to speak of $300 in the middle of Walmart, and so I just apologize. So any words on that?
To the understanding that I have, that is your humility that you're offering, that, saying sorry to the spiritual master. But the spiritual master is pleased with the disciples' mood, that even though it's difficult, you're going out. And the thing that we offer to the spiritual master is our enthusiasm in performing that activity. That's our service to the spiritual master, just to be enthusiastic out there. And if it doesn't go out, anyways, we just, okay, let's just do this. I'm doing it for Srila Prabhupada. And so, yes, and it's like out of the devotee, out of humility, it's like, I'm so sorry I couldn't distribute so many books. But the spiritual master is pleased to see that activity going on. So we can understand just like that. Yeah, so our offering to our spiritual master is our enthusiasm of just distributing the books. I'm out here, and yeah, it's hard, but let me do this for my spiritual master. And so even if the books don't go out, it's not that exactly that, okay, the spiritual master is only pleased if you do over 50 bhakti stacks or over 200 books every day. Yeah, it's like, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was extremely pleased by just one pamphlet being distributed. But obviously we desire to do more for the spiritual master. But it's not that it always works out, but just the fact that the disciple has gone out and tried, that's that's extremely pleasing to Srila Prabhupada, and I mean that, so I would say one offers one's enthusiasm and just goes out, doesn't become discouraged by when the books are not going out. He stays enthusiastic and he keeps that prominent in his mind. Right now, the only thing I can offer to my spiritual master is my enthusiasm for devotional service. So let me go and become enthusiastic, even though the books are not going out. If you think like that, you'll distribute a lot of books, because you'll be enthusiastic. I'm saying to the devotees, not to you. I'm saying to the devotees here, to the younger. So I'm saying to the devotees. So that's to the devotees in general. Yeah, English is not my first language. Neither is Nepalese, and I don't speak anything. But so that's my understanding, is that when we're out there, we offer out. When things don't go out, where that mood, the attitude of devotion is what we're offering to the spiritual master, and that's what he accepts. He accepts that loving attitude and working in that attitude. Is that okay? Okay, Mahotsa Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. It's one more thing, in that regard too. I mean, also it's not that, okay, one day you go out and you don't do so much, but, and if you go out every day for 50 years and you don't do so much, every day. But in 50 years, the fact that you're doing it every day, it really adds up. What would you rather, like a shooting star who lasts for 10 years or 9 years, or like a lifelong like like a veteran book distributor who's been going on for 50 years, every day for 50 years, every day, and like distributing, how many ever books? In the long run, what really counts?
Yeah, and considering the only thing your life's consideration is to distribute books, even at
Yeah. Even at the point of leaving the body, thinking that, okay, I'll only go if I can serve my spiritual master. I mean, that example inspired me to distribute books this marathon. So, the sacrifice never goes in vain. And that's the thing. And we can see this, even I was talking to, of course, I always hog on Brigapati Prabhu's association, like when on my way back from Sankirtan, Prabhu, can you preach to me? And then, he just starts, who was I with when that's like, we got the nectar.
Brigapati Prabhu is so funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. You know what I was just reading? And then he just gives me all the quotes I was reading. Yeah, so what do you think? I said, Prabhu, that's great. Do you have anything else? Oh, yeah. He just keeps, just preaches to you like non-stop.
You see that Rishi Kumar Prabhu put out that video? He's distributing the books, and his whole time he's just chanting this
Vande Rupa
Rupa Sanatana. The whole time he's just thinking
Yeah.
about Goswamis.
Yes, I mean, he's going to Walmart to meet the 6 Goswamis, I mean, like, that's amazing. Like, wow, hey, who would ever thought we'd run into you here? Like, because it's amazing, yeah? Yeah, Guru Maharaj said that, yeah. I mean, really, you go to Walmart, like, who do you really, wow, the 6 Goswamis are here, like, of all places in Walmart. In Compton, they straight out of Compton, like, that's where they are. They're shooting books in Compton, it's crazy, But, like, we see that, it makes a big difference. I mean, like, again, like, I myself was so inspired by, Mataji's example, and, it's really amazing. And, for people like us, or at least for people like myself, when I don't distribute so many books, I always think that, everything good is because of my spiritual master. Everything that went well is because of him, and everything that went bad is because of me. Because, like, I'm the one who's spaced out, or that I'm the one who's being mental like heck right now. I mean, this marathon, there were times I'm like, dude, why am I so mental? Come on, get your act together, really, like, what was I just thinking? Like, whoa, let me get, let me, plug back in, plugging back in. So, we can say that, in the attitude of a disciple is everything good that's going on is because of the mercy of my spirit. Everything bad is because of me being the fallen conditioned soul that I am. Because, you can see, I think the shortest verse in the Bhagavatam, which amazingly enough, I never even attempted to memorize it. It is in the 3rd canto where Kapiladev says, if you perform devotional service, your subtle body melts away, and then you have direct darshan of the super soul. Mm-hmm. I was thinking, the point that's going to happen, everyone's going to be buying books from me. Like, I mean, I can't wait. There's going to be crazy. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait for that. Like, dude, then definitely, everyone's going to be buying Prabhupada's books. It's that. It's something to really look forward to. But other times also, we can see that some devotees, they go, Prabhupada is pleased with them, and their example inspires like
so much more. Yeah.
So much more. Like it's really amazing, and anyway, I wanted to say this tomorrow, but I'll just say it right now and then. I was really praying to Krishna that, Krishna, if you're, this was when Mataji was in the hospital. I was praying to Krishna, if you're pleased with me, let me see her again. So I guess he's pleased.
Anything else? Men from the men? No, from the women, from the Matajis? Any questions or anything? Yes, Iman Mataji. Somebody take the mic.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. So you were speaking a lot on the concept of having humility, and you brought up a really good points about like depression, and what I've learned noticed is that with like depression, I've noticed in people is that really have a they really have this concept of thinking that they're deserving of something, like because I'm like this, I feel like I deserve this to get some type of better, but really we really don't deserve anything, honestly, because we're the cause of our own miseries, honestly. So when it comes to devotional service, even speaking for myself, who struggles like with just taking that first step and being like having humility, how can we prevent that attitude of thinking that we deserve something in devotional service?
Yeah. One has to be, I mean, humility is a quality of that, but that false ego of thinking, okay, I deserve this, I deserve that. One has to, it's like renunciation has to be a part of that. That, okay, let me just serve the Lord. I mean, when we're going through difficulties, it's not that we just like say, well, I shouldn't be going through difficulties and go on. We approach devotees and get advice with that. But how do we not think that I should be deserving this? You have to realize, hey, look, I'm the cause of my own problems. That's what changed my life in a really difficult place that I was in at one point, which brought me to a point of basically leaving devotional service, was that I realized I'm the cause of my own suffering. When that point hit me, everything kind of changed. It like kind of turned things around for me. So kind of realizing that is very important. I mean, you can say it so many times, but like actually kind of realizing that the situations you're in which you're suffering is being created by yourself. It's not that why is, often it's like the thing that goes, why is somebody else doing this to me? Immediately the living entity's propensity, the conditioned living entity's propensity is that somebody else is doing this to me. And just like, sometime one day I was driving on the highway and I did the wrong thing and I almost hit someone, and I was immediately thinking in my mind, oh well, they did something wrong. But they didn't do anything wrong. I swerved off and I almost hit them. So when I thought about that, then I was like, oh wow, look how the living entity is always looking to point your problems at someone else. Always. So but if we actually just say, okay, I understand it, that actually I'm the cause of my own problems, then it will be easier to deal with. Then we won't look to others to solve our problems, in the sense that we won't think that everybody should know what my problem is exactly and they should come and fix it. They should know exactly what's going on in my heart and they should fix it. But then we'll understand, okay, I'm going through difficulty, this is cause of my own problem. I'm the cause of my own problems. Those problems are not going to subside if I just move from one place to another. So one has to consider all these things. And so that was the most important factor of my life in changing that. So just understanding that point. That's at least that's what I can say. You have anything you could say? Okay.
I mean, we always just want to play the victim mentality.
Yeah, it's just that's the problem. That's the main problem with everything.
The minute you stop being the victim and you realize, oops.
Yeah.
The victim mentality is a smoke screen, because you're a coward.
Yeah.
You can't deal with your own problem.
Yeah. Most of the time, it's all symptoms, but then there's a root problem.
Yeah, there's a root problem. Oh, it's because of let's see what you're actually doing.
Yeah. Just like I give the example, sometimes devotees get really mental. I'm not reading enough, I'm not reading enough, I'm not reading enough. Okay, all right, here's space to read. Here's like, come here, this is your schedule, this is read, and then still mental. What's the problem? So then you figure out the real problem. So sometimes we have symptoms, but there's a root problem. And the root problem is generally we want to enjoy.
Yeah.
We enjoy separate from Krishna. Philosophically, we can understand like that, but also practically, you see this. The more you realize this, you can understand devotion service is working. When you realize, oh, actually I'm trying to enjoy separately from Krishna, therefore I'm suffering. And you're like, oh, okay, I have to change that, and then you'll see your attitude in devotion service change, your relationships with devotee change, your performance of devotion service, your enthusiasm in devotion service. All these things become transformed. Not that I'm like enthusiastic or crazy about devotion service. I had personal experience from going one end to coming to, whatever position or platform I'm at currently. Going from a very bad place of just going back to karmi life and just doing whatever nonsense to being at a point where it's like, okay, this is, I have some feeling that I can do this for the rest of my life. So it takes that. It's really hard. It's really hard to accept that, but you have to do it, and that helps a lot. Okay, all right, I should end. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.